love doing some speeches after the Green Party. Firstly, what I would like to say is ACT is not anti-worker. In fact, we are extremely pro-worker, and I understand the intent of this bill, and I want to firstly acknowledge the previous member for bringing this bill forward. I think everybody in this House can agree that if an employer intentionally withholds money, that is a very, very serious matter. None of us want to see employees exploited, and I think that is pretty huge. But there are reasons why we can't support this bill, and Katie Nimmin has very well, I would say she's articulated all the points very well, but let me remind everybody, and it's not because we don't believe in the cause, in fact, we really do believe in it, but there are already key mechanisms in place. We have the Employment Relations Act, we have the Immigration Act, and we have all kinds of other little bits and pieces that you are able to do in that. And I think what might be quite useful for everybody is to actually go through what some of these actually processes are and how they actually look, or how effective it is. So, present data shows the effectiveness in the current system in resolving employment issues, including the number of enforcement actions and penalties awarded. So if we look at the 2022-2023 financial year, there was 112 direct enforcement actions that were taken, resulting in approximately 1.13 million penalties awarded by the Employment Relations Authority. 2021-2022, 212 investigations, 685,000 in penalties awarded. 2023 to 2024, the 400-odd complaints that were, of the 400-odd complaints, most of these were resolved without enforcing penalties. The system is actually working. Why would this House want to create another layer of bureaucracy on top of what we have under the premise of keeping our workers safe? It's all great to hear all the stories, and I do believe it is really stressful. I remember one time when an employer didn't pay me, and you've got automatic payments coming out. If you're living week to week, it's extremely stressful. If you know you're not getting that money at all, that's absolutely horrible, and I don't think any of us can accept it. But we've got a system, we've got mechanisms in place. We don't want to see an employer being potentially victimised. We don't want to see our police going around and knocking on the doors of businesses when they've got actually a real crime to deal with. So, we do not support this bill, and I think it's very clear why we do not support it. Thank you very much.
Honourable Mark Peters.
Well, at least she made a short speech.
Well, I don't claim her. She's I disagree with this, Laura.
My sister's name is Laura too. It's a great name, and there's a lot of great people with it. But yeah, I don't think it was the best speech from a Laura that I've ever heard.
True.
I mean, it's from a Laura who's got a certain set of values that don't line up with the reality. But like that bill is perfect on why benefit sanctions should not exist. Like, or why certain things there. Because when I first heard it, I was thinking, like, this is a good one that could be used for benefit sanctions, or why they should not exist.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. I kind of felt like I didn't think that her arguments were particularly convincing on this bill, especially because she kind of did lean into the pro-worker, and she said she agreed with the overall concept. So, I mean, we did have ACT on the select committee, and I think they were worried again about maybe compliance measures and stuff. But I don't. Laura wasn't on the committee, and I wasn't terribly convinced by her argument.
Yeah, no.
I'm just puzzled by why would you stand and say we don't want to see workers, we don't want to see them exploited, but we're not going to support the bill that's going to stop workers from getting exploited. I don't understand. Actually,
looking at the moment on the select committee, Project Palmer, who did the second reading speech, was like sitting in the House but didn't do the speech.
Yeah, maybe they've changed their spokespeople. With these smaller parties, they've got so many different areas that they're spokespeople for that it's difficult to keep up.
Todd Stevenson, who sits on like 4 select committees.
Yeah.
That's the one. It's like, as I say, if there could be a title of Minister of Select Committees, Todd Stevenson should be given.
Yeah, and he does his prep as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've always found it quite good, including the one recently, I think, where you're on, where I think I mentioned your bill in the middle of it because I read it in the morning. Oh, it's on the order paper. And it was just like, literally, you could tell he read it because he saw my section on there about what partial strike deductions for MPs on there. And that was deliberately pointed out with 2 one-minute speeches from Grant McCullough and Mike Buttering. But that was because it's like, you've been given 5 minutes and you're literally basically saying, I commend this bill in the House and sitting down. It's like, that could be misconstrued as a partial strike. Some people might sit there and see it as being lazy.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it only happens during industrial action for a collective agreement, which is unlikely to happen for any MPs. But a good parallel, I think, for the ACT Party is, obviously they got in trouble recently for wearing their badges in Parliament, and yeah, that is slightly ironic that now they're making that something that you could be fined for as a partial strike.
Yeah. Now,
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.